this is not high desert, okay? And all the media and all the commercials in this area and the radio and all of that just constantly freaking pumping. It's a desert, it's a desert. It's turning it into a desert, okay? This isn't a time to mess around and play around and be ignorant. Not at all, okay? We can turn on a giant carbon sink right here in Oregon, which I thought Oregon was like an environmental state. But when you look around at the actual land being governed by public lands, it's all mismanaged, every last bit of it, okay? So we're going to either do something about this, or this is going to do something about us. Mark my words, dust bowls coming, bad stuff coming, fires out of control, all right? The grass fires are no big deal. The juniper and sage fires are no joke, okay? So it's time to do something. Hello and welcome to another video. In today's video, we're checking up. It's August, the first week in August of 22. And so we've had like a whole week that was 100 or almost 100. That was a couple weeks ago. And now, a couple days ago, we had substantial rain for almost 24 hours. Not straight, but over a 24-hour period, we had a substantial amount of rain. So now, I don't know if this will show up on the camera. That mountain up there has a lot of green that has just popped up since that rain. Pretty interesting. So this variety of grass is really resilient. I've been calling it parachute grass. I haven't looked up at what it actually is, but the overall height of the grass is really low. But then it shoots these up, and these actually have, I've shown these before. Oh, there's a seed. So the seed's on a little tail, and so it catches in the wind and blows around. If I'm showing it there, right there. So that grass seems to be doing real good. Now that grass does not seem to be doing very good, but the groundhogs, maybe rabbits as well, sure do like that variety. Now this variety here is pretty interesting. It really doesn't have much in the way of, low stuff. It's all pretty high, and it comes up here and the seeds are just ginormous, and they're not even done yet. These haven't even finished, but it seems to be doing good. Like there's still color in it, even after everything. This stuff here is part of the stuff that has to go. This stuff, I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's just, I'm considering this invasive species stuff because it's just not good for anything. I was right in the middle of a dust devil, and there's no dust. Because when you have a little bit of a moisture coverage and good grass coverage, those things behave completely different. Over there, they always make a ton of dust. Over here, areas, little puffs of dust. It's almost continuous when they're over there. It did just rain, but typically just 2 days ago was a lot of rain, maybe like an inch even. So I've been walking around looking for these examples of where I burned. And I'm walking around and they all had really lush green grass coming out of them. Well, guess now what they all have? Rabbit poop. Every single one of these patches, I've been walking around looking, going, and I was going to show, like, oh, look, when you burn, look at the green lush that comes back. Yeah, look at the green lush that comes back and the rabbits eat it. You can see the critters have really gone to town over here on these things that I'm not quite sure. I mean, typically, you'd probably call them a weed, but the critters love them. I think I've even seen the pronghorn antelope getting hit by another one. I've even seen the pronghorn antelope eating this stuff. So what I like about this, I don't know what kind, I call it the parachute grass, is the critters don't like it. I'm sure the big fauna like deer and all that will enjoy it, but the little, like the rabbits aren't chewing on it, the prairie dogs aren't chewing on it. You can see where the patches are pretty good, and it's really not chewed down much. Oh, now that I get closer, I eat those words. Those might have been knocked out. No, yeah, they're getting eaten too. Never mind. But not like this. Look at that. Every single whole thing is just eaten down to nothing. Let me just do a couple of these. But look how much greener that variety is. I want all the varieties to compete. The one that I don't want is this one over here. That's the cheatgrass. But one thing I've noticed, when it comes in, other things come in and start to compete with it, because it's only been there for a year. But look at the just devastation of all the, it's just literally been mowed down by the armies of the critters. And I do see a little bit of rabbit poop, but I think this is mainly prairie dog activity. It's just so wild. Look at it all. It's just been cut down. All the little critters just come out here. Look at that one. This is just crazy. So these guys, this is like the little like tumbleweed. And that's an invasive species. I've been pulling these out, but there is a few here I missed or came back up. But I've been pulling all the invasives except for the cheatgrass that I'm aware of. And this little patch here, I have to go get gloves, because I have splinters in my fingers from pulling that stuff still. Because they, and prickly, they start, they're not so prickly, but then if they grow in an old one, then you go down, and like over here, see these old ones. So you start plucking those, and you grab a prickly thing on that, and yeah, we need gloves for those. Yeah, see, this is the amber waves of green. It just used to be over here. You see how thick it is here? That was all that I was showing back there in surprise, because it all looked like this. I haven't been out here because the hot weather was really hot, so I just didn't even try to get in the sun at all. So it's probably been 10 days or so. So in 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, the critters have taken it from this to the other stuff. Look at that crazy mushroom. That's wild. I don't think I've recorded this variety of grass yet. This is interesting. This might not even be grass, I'm not sure. Somehow it eluded my attention this whole time. Not sure what this one is, but it's really cool. this stuff here that I've been pointing out around the edge that the critters have been eating, it's kind of interesting because it seems to come up in areas that have experienced overcompaction. So this area right here was a giant mound of dirt for like over a year, and then I got to it to add to it in and out this way, so you can see that there's a ring of this stuff. Now this stuff's pretty interesting because the way it grows up like this, right? But then it does like this, it gets blown around, and you see what it's doing to the surface? As it's being blown around, it's loosening up the surface and it's catching all this stuff and it's dropping all this stuff. And that's probably why it's doing so good here, is because like that's its job, is to fix over compacted soil. Now other things that are here are those little blue flowers. These other things, I'm not quite sure what they are, but those all do really good in over compacted soil. So any kind of restoration project, you definitely need to have this wide variety of seed mix to do all the different jobs. You just need to have it in there because you're not going to specifically adjust your seeds for every acre. You just need to have your seeds in there. What's going to work, and what isn't. And it might work not immediately. It might take 2 or 3 seasons for something like this to do its job, but then maybe that grass seed that landed there 3 seasons ago will actually be able to take off. The final stage of these yarrows, the seeds, I'm not quite sure if they're done or not. There might be done ones and undone ones, but the seeds are in there still for sure. But by the end of the year, now the key to this stuff is you got to knock it down. You can't just leave it. If you leave it, you're going to basically just kill that off. The seeds will do stuff, but you want to preserve your plant. All right, I think I'm proving my point here. This is not high desert, okay? And all the media and all the commercials in this area and the radio and all of that just constantly freaking pumping, it's a desert, is turning it into a desert, okay? This isn't a time to mess around and play around and be ignorant. Not at all, okay? We can turn on a giant carbon sink right here in Oregon, which I thought Oregon was like an environmental state. But when you look around at the actual land being governed by public lands, it's all mismanaged, every last bit of it, okay? So we're going to either do something about this, or this is going to do something about us. Mark my words, dust bowls coming, bad stuff coming, fires out of control, all right? The grass fires are no big deal. The juniper and sage fires are no joke, okay? So it's time to do something, and I've got all the plans right here in this playlist. Have a great day in peace.